schools across the country have been banned following a wave of students' unrest, with questions lingering. Tonight we look at what could be the cause, or what is the cause of the student unrest in schools. Talk to us, send us a message on 22047. The hashtag to use is TV47 News. Let's get to this discussion. Let me bring in our guests, panelists for the night. Ayub Mohamud is the Deputy Principal, Jamhuri High School. Victor Wanga is a teacher, Upper Hill School. Muiga Mutero is the former captain, Upper Hill School. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for your time tonight on TV47. All right, Mwalimu Victor, let me start with you. The question everyone would be tending to seek an answer for tonight is, what is driving students to ban their very own schools?
Thank you so much, Abubakar. The driving force towards this unrest is as good as unexplained, in that, from my opinion, I really don't think there's a reason why our students should ban school. Because if you look at the situation that is happening in the country, these are students who are out of school for several months during the corona period, and it reached a point where parents were now demanding, we want our students back to school, and a lot of pressure was being put, like teachers were really idle. Then they come back to us after they felt like the 8-10 months was too much for them. So I do not know, but I would say that from my perspective is that the effect of coronavirus on the idle students either has brought a bit of the I would call it mental instability or illness among the students. Either when they were at home, there was a bit of lack of parental concern on the children's behavior, so that when they come back, they think that people can just be idle around. And with the duration that they have now stayed in school, I have a feeling that we need to have, our students should have learned that it is high time they be settled down in school and study, because exams are around the corner.
All right. Hold on that thought. Let me bring in Mwalimu Ayub Mohamud to the discussion as well, Deputy Principal, Jamhuri High School. Perhaps the same question, are there justifiably any reasons as to why students are banning their schools?
Yeah, first of all, thank you TV47 for this opportunity to give my insights. And I believe this issue of school unrest is not a new phenomenon. We have stayed with it for some time. And the dynamics might differ, but for me, I believe there are a number of reasons that could have contributed. And I think one of them is we have not seen, despite this unrest, we have not seen many arrests. And I think there is a need to have security agencies swinging to action, so that we have many arrests and conviction of perpetrators. I believe that should happen. And then secondly, there's also an element of drug and substance abuse, which is also a societal problem, and which is a main factor in this issue of unrest in schools. And
the abuse is among students?
Yeah, there's drug and substance abuse among these students. And it's really a big issue in our schools, and at some point even it is very expensive to go for tests. It's very expensive to rehabilitate these students, and it's not just a school per se problem, but it's a societal problem, and it's also contributing to students. I don't think a sober student will pick a stone or will engage in vandalism. So a lot of cases we are seeing are students who are either abusing drug and substance abuse, or even some of them could be from dysfunctional families. And if they don't get open channels of communication, then the only language they understand is a language of violence. And in relation to that, we also have peer pressure and this copycat mentality, whereby you feel if it has happened in another place, then I don't have a reason why I should not do. So I think all these contribute. In addition to that, we also have We also have tight academic schedules. I think because of the corona, instead of having 3 terms in a year, we are having 4 terms. And at some point also we have tight, we have our dormitories, because of the 100% transition. We are experiencing congestion in these dormitories. They are in a very dilapidated state, and it is compromising on their comfort. And then finally, I also want to blame the media. I think media is also hyping this banning of schools and is trying to sensationalize. And I think when we put this thing on headlines every now and then we also have the social media and all that. And I think when students go to their phones, and I think the first thing they find is a school is banning and so on. And I think at some point media is to blame. And even during the COVID time, we have seen how at times information was going to the public that if you use the vaccine, within 2 years you are going to die. And there are people to death. But
Mwalimu, for this specific case of unrest in schools, if a school is banned or is banning and there are images of that school, that is what is happening. That's what the media is reporting, isn't it?
Yeah, but the media tends to sensationalize. The media tends to glorify this thing. And I think when you put it on the news, on the headlines, when it is on social media everywhere, I think there are some apps even. I think there are some things we don't need to share. I think we should restrict some of this information. Sometimes you just copy and paste, and I think there are no any restrictions. And I think we need to have some mechanisms so that we control information moving from one.
Fair enough. You have talked of the tight academic schedule. We will talk of the psychology of the students and what's going through their mind and the role counseling has to that effect a little bit later into this discussion. Let me bring in Muiga Mutero, who is the former captain, Upper Hill School. You have an experience of recently being a student. I understand you are equally a student now, even though not in high school. What are the reasons that your former colleagues, a stage in which you are part of, all of us, to be fair, were once part of, give us an explanation as to why they are burning down their schools?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this discussion. And I think being a student just recently, I did my KCSE in 2018. I was the school captain at Upper Hill School. And I think to this discussion, I'm bringing a different kind of an approach to things. I have a deputy principal here, I have a teacher here, and I'm here to talk about the students. And really, I'd like to let you know that there was a time that every one of us was students. Every one of you were students. And you realize that the perspective that a teacher has on you when you are complaining about something is different with what you have as a student. Let me take it this way. An example. When your remote at home doesn't work, the first thing you think of is to hit that remote, right? So even if hitting that remote is not really the solution to the remote not working, but after you hit it, it seems to work, then if students ban the school today and they realize they've gotten the attention they needed, then definitely tomorrow if they have a challenge of the same type, even if it's not of the same magnitude, then definitely they will rush to that solution that they know will give them the attention that they require.
And why do students need attention? And whose attention are you talking of specifically? The school's management?
Now, these are teenagers. Teenagers want attention from everyone. They want to be noticed. They want their actions to count. They want, when they say that the food in that school tastes bad, that it is taken seriously. They want that when they complain about a particular teacher, then, for instance, action is taken. But you see, school heads also have a responsibility to carry out in this, because when these students complain about something and you dismiss the issue that they are complaining about, then what they think of is that this guy doesn't care about us. He is not concerned with our interest, you see. Now, another thing that comes into play is back to the example of hitting the remote so that it works. Every time you find it's not working, you'll hit it. Now, these students are now finding problems that they are not able to solve on their own, or they do not know any other way to solve this problem, because there are problems. The problems I faced at Upper Hill, the problems they are facing now at their different schools, we cannot sum them up and say that this is what is causing the school fires. is what is causing the unrest in students. Every school is different. Every student population is different. And I think we are not going to solve this problem by blaming each other, saying it is the students who are doing this, it is the teachers who are doing this, it is the parents who are doing this. We need to come together and realize that these students are not living in space, they are living in our community. And if every time there is an issue in our community, we rush to throw stones at each other, violence is what we are teaching our students.
Fair enough.
Yes.
And you say at the end of the day, they want the attention of the school's management, isn't it?
Yes.
Let me bring in Mwalimu Victor to the discussion. From Muiga's point of view, it seems as though the students want the administration to address issues of which some administrations are not.
Okay, thank you once again, Abdullah. I would not say that the administration of schools are not listening to these students, because from my perspective, the administration is about, it's the whole school. Me as a teacher, a class teacher, the head of departments, the deputies and the principals. We all have responsibility to ensure that the students are comfortable, which we are doing. We listen to these students where they have a challenge. We always urge them to come and share them with us. And the best way is dialogue, so that if a student has a challenge, because we are the parents in school, if they do this in school, what do we expect in future? Would they be burning their own homes? If they can burn their own dormitories, where their belongings are, the beddings and all that is, which kind of society are we bringing up? So in terms of my perspective, from a teacher perspective, is that we are doing our role as teachers. And I can tell you and I can assure you that in boarding schools, some of these teachers do not even sleep. Teachers have turned to be watchmen, doing night vigil to make human beings who are our students, my son, your son, and even a cousin, a daughter. Really, is this the society that we are talking about? When I was a student, back then, close to 20 years ago, I remember when I was in high school, the level through which a teacher's word was respected in the society, things have since changed to an extent that the students of today really would want to have their way. And you see, this barbaric way of solving things will not help our society. In future, if they don't have jobs, will they be burning government offices so that they get jobs?
And you say they want their way. Given that then they want their way, is there an ear from schools administrations that hears the students, their cries, their pleas?
Definitely. From my perspective and from the school where I come from, we have the different categories that deal with student issues, not the boarding department, not the class teachers, not the guidance and counseling. Even the principal himself takes time to talk to students, having class conferences with the students where they are able to air their views. If there's anything of concern, they are very free to knock any of the teachers' offices so as to be able to solve the problem.
Fair enough.
And I can tell you that from the teaching perspective, not that I'm defending teachers, but I think teachers are heroes of today with the role that they are played to cool down some of these things. And this is a challenge to the society and even our government, that now the role of a teacher should be taken as one of the most supreme roles. Where you put doctors and other professions, that's where you should put teachers, because they are in charge of lives and they're taking care of young people from the society and the future of this country.
Fair enough. Let me bring in Ayub to the discussion. Mwalimu, still on the question of whether schools administrations are listening to students. I was earlier on reading the Claire Omolo report of 2016, which unearthed major administrative flaws in schools. Some of the reasons that were quoted in that report that led to unrest in schools were, and I quote, administrators' high-handedness, bad school rules, lack of proper communication channels, which fund the fires. Muiga is talking of students wanting attention, students wanting their issues to be addressed, and in that, now missing that attention, hence resulting to banning their schools. How much of responsibility should administrators of schools bear in these unrests?
I think as administrators we are doing our best, and this is not the first time these fires are taking place, and we keep learning lessons. And I think there was a time when there was high-handedness of administrators, but I think of late there are open channels of communication. We tell our students that our offices are open, and if they have any issue, then they can come straight without without any hindrance. And students are, we inculcate in them a culture of being free, so that if they have any issue, they come straight to our offices and they tell us, even without passing any teacher. We have put up suggestion boxes. We have class teachers meetings. We have form meetings. We have student barazas. We have assemblies. So I feel there's a lot administrators we are doing, but I think if students are not feeling free, then it's a big problem. But we have created that environment whereby they should feel free, and even if they cannot say, then they put it in writing and they put it in the suggestion box. So we are doing our best. But I'm also seeing a scenario where these riots and these fires, I think, is also a reflection of what's happening in the society. I think when we look at our, family breakdowns and the structures in the family, in the society, even in the leadership. We have even seen our leaders sometimes fight in public, and if they want something, then they want to get it, whether in the county government, whether in the national government. If they want something, then I think they normally do it riot. I think sometimes they say akietu, and they want to have their way. And I think this is the kind of attention our students see. These are the things that they see every day. And we have even seen sometimes even our political leadership, whereby one side is rebelling against another one. And I think these are scenarios that our students are exposed to every day. And at times the school is not, is not an environment per se. I think the school is just a micro environment. So sometimes what's happening in the community is at times also the same thing that is reflected in our school environments.
All right, Muiga, we are having this discussion, and you are recent amongst the four of us tonight, a recent student, a former captain, I believe, in the leadership of the student organization at Upper Hill School. And we are talking of the role the administrators have. You said earlier on that this should not be a blame game, pointing fingers to the students only, but the students equally have a responsibility in making sure their schools are better, isn't it? Is banning a dormitory, for instance, or a class the best of options?
Whether that is the best option is not really what students think about when they want their issues addressed.
Shouldn't they not be thinking about?
Yes, but you see, if it's a multiple choice question and you give people answers A to D, then they are not going to choose E because it does not exist in that list. So my opinion is that these people, these students, need to be given avenues to address their issues. Now, reflecting back to when I was captain then at Upper Hill, we used to have meetings with the administration, or just meetings within ourselves, so that as the student leadership or the prefect's body has information, what are the issues that the students are facing. And now, after having that meeting, we will take them now as a student body to the administration in the office, maybe engage a deputy principal like Mwalimu here, tell him that we have had a meeting with Form 4s, with Form 3s, with Form 2s, Form 1s, and we have seen or we have discovered that there are issues A, B, C, D. And you see, even in our society, there's something we call bargaining. When I need to buy a shoe going for 500 shillings and I only have 400, then we negotiate with whoever is selling the shoe until we get to a favorable price for both of us. Now, the administration needs to acknowledge that there are things that students want that they could easily give to them. The students also need to acknowledge that to get this, you also have to lower your expectations to a particular level so that we are at par. But then, if you treat me as a child who cannot tell you anything, but a robot that you tell keep quiet and it keeps quiet, it will not work. It will not work. Definitely, I will react, and I will react beyond proportion, because at the end of the day, this is a teenager we are talking about. And really,
Muiga, you're painting of a picture of either a monologue or one-sided communication in the affairs and the running of schools.
yes.
The teachers who are with us tonight here will disagree with you vehemently.
Of course they will. Of course they will. And because I said that this should not be a blame game, I acknowledge that there are amongst us, students, those who are indisciplined, and that is just the reality. Ni kama kiazi kilichooza katika gunia. So there are a few of us who are not disciplined, yeah? And what happens in this case is that there are disciplinary measures like suspension, which actually, if you suspend a student, after 2 weeks they come back, they are celebrated in class as heroes. So really, what we are calling punishment that is meant to mentor these children is being seen as a show of strength amongst the peers.
Fair enough. Yes. And it's good that you have preempted where I wanted us to move along in this discussion, which is the return of corporal punishment. Education CS Professor George Magoha has hinted at the return of punishment. A section of clerics earlier today called for the ministry to consider the reintroduction of that. Mwalimu Victor, if punishment is by use of force and schools are burning because students are using force, how logical will it be to extinguish force using another?
Okay, thank you, Abdullahi. What does the Constitution of Kenya talks about? As per now, I would not, as per my code of conduct of the teaching profession, I would not talk about corporal punishment, because it's actually not, it's outlawed. And so when you want us to debate about unlawful thing here, I would not want to get into it. But I remember when I was a student, is that the place of a teacher and the respect for the teaching profession was really at a level whereby everyone in the society recognized the role of a teacher. But you see, from the leadership, the top apex, I remember one of the popular politicians out there decided to call us what were IAEOU. And so I'm asking myself that this guy who was taught by a teacher has already degraded teachers. What do they expect the society to view the teacher? Will I have authority to tell the student this is what is right and this is what is wrong? So the fabric of our societies should really look at how to correct things. And the disciplines should start the moment from the family perspective. And it's, you know, it's the family, the households that make the society. So that every small aspects that is taught as values in our society, which I think the CBC is going to will tell us about that, about respect, being patriotic to your country. And I think being patriotic to the country should make our student to know that the moment they ban a dormitory, there is that expense that will come back to their parents. And the taxpayers are feeling it. Most of these parents are struggling. They don't even have salaries. They are borrowing loans to pay the school fee of these students. And obviously, they are going to be charged. The charges that are going to be put on this student after them banning. So from my perspective, the debate on corporal punishment, as per now, keep it aside from me, and I would not talk about it. If the CS is thinking about it, let him take it to Parliament. If they pass it, then after that it can be implemented. But now talking about unlawful thing is actually against my code of ethics.
And that's why I suppose they're asking for the reintroduction. Nonetheless, let me bring in Mwalimu Ayub, perhaps on the same area to the discussion. Calls for the reintroduction of punishment, instilling discipline among students by way of punishing them using force, caning. Is it really an option, Mwalimu?
Yeah, personally, I'm not a proponent of corporal punishment, and I believe in I mean, involvement of students in decision making, involving the parents, and giving them that environment where they feel free to air their issues and so on. But again, I have a beef with the media. I remember when this corporal punishment was introduced, I think it's the media that demonized this thing, and it appeared as if it's like teachers are using it for their, personal interest and so on. Because we might have one person maybe stray or maybe mess. Because we also have, even in the security agencies, we have seen them, even doctors, sometimes they do something and they mess. So I think there's a way the media, I think, tried to demonize it in such a way that I think it led to it is banning. I'm not a proponent of corporal punishment, because I think sometimes it's not true that if I went to corporal punishment, then the child today should also be subjected to the same. So I believe there are many other forums we can use, and we can engage these young people so that we make them air their issues, and we make them part and parcel of our day-to-day management.
All right, Muiga, often in these debates we talk of students, which somewhat is a generalization of the students in totality. It's not often the case that all students are indisciplined, isn't it? It's at least 1%, if not less, that is indiscipline, that's causing unrest in schools.
Yes, that is true, because if one student touches a dormitory, and that dormitory hosts 96 students, and the whole school is sent home for a period of time, then we are most likely going to say that a particular school has touched their dormitory. Well, while in reality it was those two students who did that. Now, when it comes to corporal punishment, really, I think it's not a good idea, because what it was all about is showing you that actions have consequences, and that when you choose to disobey a particular law, then either pain will be inflicted upon you or you'll be told to work. But you see, the disadvantage of corporal punishment is that if you associate work with punishment, then later this person will view work as being punished. And we need people to work. We need people to pay taxes. In your house, there are utensils that are to be cleaned. That is work. So if you associate work with punishment, then this person will grow knowing that working is being punished. On the same note, inflicting pain on these people is, it works on a small child. But when people grow up and they start questioning things and they realize that, kumbe nitasikia uchungu na ishe, then these people get accustomed to that corporal punishment. I think the best kind of correction is that which explains that you have done 1, 2, 3 and this is wrong. But before we get to you doing this is wrong, to you doing something that is wrong, did you know it was wrong in the first place? I know you'll tell me ignorance is no defense, but really, school rules should be well communicated, and the students should know that doing this is wrong. And when they do something that is wrong, then the right amount of punishment is to be administered. As a captain, what I used to do, maybe going to the dormitory, finding that the people who are supposed to clean it have not cleaned it yet, we will first ask them to clean the dormitory. Once they've cleaned the dormitory, then we will ask them to ensure that the next time, whoever is going to clean that dormitory does it on time. So these people have broken a law, and you're putting them in charge of ensuring that no one else breaks that law. Now, what this does, it gives them an opportunity, a responsibility, and that makes them feel recognized. So when you tell a noisemaker to ensure that other people do not make noise in class, then you're giving this person an opportunity to use their energy for good. And actually, they take that opportunity very seriously, and they will ensure that that class is quiet. So,
fair enough.
Really, I think punishment needs to be approached in a different way. Inflicting pain or work, it doesn't really make the student recognize their mistake.
All right, you're watching TV 47 News tonight. We are making sense, at least on the unrest in schools. Talk to us, send us a message on 22047. Time for us to take a short break. We will be back with this discussion. Stay with us.
You are watching home of untold stories.
Onaje your gift.
Entrepreneurs around the country are creatively grinding.
I started with a borrowed phone.
A borrowed phone?
Yeah, that could last 2 hours with charge.
We just have to do quality work for them.
To make their mark in an unpredictable market.
It was now going on a sales venture, looking for stockists door to door.
On the grind, we bring you their stories so you can tell yours. Every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Men are known to be the pillars.
We're rising up.
Say your point.
You need an alpha male now to come and help you and your girl.
Ameongea zero.
And women, they are the cornerstone that hold the pillars.
Don't be entitled. A man is peaceful, a man knows how to talk to a lady.
This November, the Men's Conference brings a cocktail of diverse ladies to weigh in on various matters.
Something I'd love more to see. Men being able to exist as themselves.
Tune in every Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Hello guys and welcome to Night In with Joy Irungu. Joy
of untold stories.
Welcome back to TV 47 News. Tonight we are making sense of the unrest in schools. Talk to us, send us a message on 22047. Let's get back to our discussion and let me ask perhaps Mwalimu Victor from Upper Hill School this question. We have noted and seen at least that this unrest often peculiarly happens in the second term of the three terms of the academic calendar, that was. Are there reasons as to why?
Okay, I just want to take the case scenario of this term. One, this is a term that is the second one after the coronavirus break. There's been no sporting activities in our school. Life has come back to normal. Why do we restrict students from participating in sports? Because I believe students who participate in sports can really take that negative energy that they can utilize somewhere into the field to use it positively, to either play rugby, do some athletics, run with them together, play basketball. That student would come from the field tired and be able to now use the rest of the time to think of academics. The 2 years that we've had no sports, I think we've even killed talent. So as the government looks at ways of solving some of this problem, I would suggest that with an immediate effect, if not tomorrow, if not next week, let sporting activities and talent identification activities be reintroduced back to school. It will reduce the boredom and even the kind of ulabalu that we are seeing amongst our students. Suggesting that that would also help us manage the pressure that is now on our students. Because if a student is in class from morning to evening, no sporting activity, no any other activity that can be able to reduce this boredom, then that can happen. But as well, our students should also learn to know that the time span that is remaining is quite little, and the resources that are available for the government is that we cannot afford to have a backlog of several years of students staying at home idle without going to school because they want their period in school to be prolonged. I'm suggesting let students be ready to contain the pressure in school. As the government reviews the calendar, let this calendar not be reviewed just because the students are now doing the unrest in school. That's when half-term comes. I mean, just work without play will make a student feel like there's nothing that else. I would really suggest that let's look at it, let's review, get opinion of teachers, what do they feel? Before you just throw at, policies at them, calendars at them, what is their opinion? What do they think? Yes, Corona is with us, and it is a new normal that we'll have to stay with by making students not participate in sporting activity. Will the too much pressure in schools make them ban all the schools? Then thereafter, what will happen? Where will the money come from? Where will the resources for developing this infrastructure come from? It is our society again. Meaning the kind of society that we are, and even the kind of students that we are having in school today, if you are not careful, they'll make this country to be, a warlike country. If they can be able to ban schools today, what will happen into the future?
Let me bring in Mwalimu Ayub to the discussion and to weigh his thoughts into why peculiarly this unrest often happens in the second term, Mwalimu.
I think we have had this issue for a very long time, and it keeps recurring. But I feel the way I said, we need as a government, I think, to really have more of these students arrested and perpetrators convicted and all that. And I also feel as administrators and generally as a school community, I think everybody needs to be vigilant, because in most cases the people who are involved are not very many. Sometimes it is 2-3 students, and they are the ones causing all this inconvenience. So I feel it's about vigilance, it's about intelligence gathering, and even using these students to gather credible intelligence, so that we nip this issue in the bud, or we try to, before it erupts, then we are able to really control it. And the way my colleague has also put, I think it's also important. After Corona, I think these boys have been at home, these students, they have been at home for 9 months. And they had all the freedom, whereby if they want to watch TV, they can go, if they need internet, if they need warm water, if they want to sleep, they sleep. So I think when now they are back from that long break, I think it was very unusual. And they now feel that their freedom has been curtailed, and they just want to, I think, misbehave because of, and they want maybe to go to their homes, and it's not something they're used to. So I think those are some of the factors. But it's also important we mentor them. It's also important we are very close to them. I think some of them might have, family issues, and I think it's important we engage them, and we get to know all the concerns and the issues they have, and at every level, at class level, at school level, at the departmental level, we try to understand what are the issues, and we try to see how we can be able to handle some of the concerns that they have.
And Mwalimu, often there is the claim of parents being blamed for delegating their parenting roles to teachers at school, expecting teachers to shape up their kids at school, to be their role models, to basically be involved in the parenting duties. What extra role does the teacher have, more than just being a teacher who teaches in the class?
I think there was a time we used to say the teacher is the first parent, but of late the teacher is not just, we used to say the teacher is the second parent, but of late the teacher is the first parent, is the second parent. The teacher does not just teach. The teacher is a counselor. The teacher is a first aider. The teacher is a talent detector. The teacher is a spiritual guide. Are you seeing? The teacher is a mentor. So I feel the teacher is playing many roles, and at some point I think the parents have also abdicated their responsibilities, and at times we find ourselves in, even when the results are not good, it is the teacher. I think the teacher is also the most evaluated person. At the end of every year, you want results from the same teacher. And I think the parents are nowhere. And then you expect the discipline, the academics, everything has been put on the shoulders of the teacher. So I think the teacher finds himself in a very tight corner, and is trying to play many responsibilities.
All right, and because of the interest of time, perhaps one last question to the three of you. Let me start with Moiga. What is the way forward then? We have talked of dormitories and classes in ashes. We have talked of discipline. We have talked of a change. We have talked of breaking the monologue, at least an idea you advanced earlier on in making sure that the students are involved. What is the way forward?
The way forward from here is to recognize that we all have a part to play in this.
And when you say we, you mean the teachers, the students, I suppose?
Okay, I'm getting there. I mean, the administration at the beginning has a responsibility because they have a lot of time with the students. And so when the students come with complaints, then it is upon them to take it with the seriousness that it deserves, or to show at least that they are interested in knowing these issues. Secondly, it is for the parents to recognize that they have children. And most of the time they are busy looking for fees, looking for all those material things that their children need, and they forget that at the end of the day, an educated fool can also be the result of their work. We can have a person who is educated, but that education does not mean anything to them because they have no morals, they have no values, they do not value what they have. Because, for example, when a dome is torched, then there is a lot of damage. And who suffers? It is the parent. Because now the child is in Form 4, this student is in Form 4, and you're again going to do shopping like you are admitting a child from 1. The uniform is burnt, the boxes are destroyed, everything is gone. So parents need really to take responsibility. When these children come home for midterm, for holidays, spend time with them. Get to know that these people have been away from me for some time, and I need to catch up with these people. I need to know what's up in their life.
All right.
Third is the students. Now let me speak to every student in high school right now, peer to peer, and I'll tell you this. You're only in high school for 4 years. And in these 4 years, you have a decision to make. You might not be the best in sports, you might not be the best in academics, but if you go out of that institution knowing that you did your best, not in torching the dormitory, but in trying your best to understand the concepts, to obtain the knowledge that the teachers were giving to you. And if you take that seriously, you will go out of that institution knowing that I did my best. And now, when you have challenges in that school, it doesn't mean that banning the school is a solution. It is not a solution. Consult with your teachers, consult with the administration. They are prefects, they are captains like myself at that time. You have a responsibility as a leader of those students to acknowledge their issues and to be the link between the administration, composed of adults, teachers, and you are the people you lead, who are the students. You need to be a link between these people to acknowledge that for us to be in harmony with each other, then we have to increase on a few issues, we have to decrease on a few issues. That is the way forward. Now, I've heard the CS talk very tough about students that will be found, or the people who want to transfer from a school because it is banned. It is a good measure, but does it solve the problem?
All right. Mwalimu Victor,
Okay,
the way forward, perhaps in your closing remarks because of the interest of time.
I want to summarize this into 4. 1, I want to start by appealing to our line ministry, that's Ministry of Education. I want to appeal to the CS Education that as you come up with programs and involve the stakeholders, we really believe that the place of the teacher in the society, and even the Kenyan society today, is still not as per what we expect. Let the teacher feel the value, because now we are bearing the load of not just being teachers, but even being parents. Some of these teachers, especially the ones in boarding schools, take close to 15 to 18 hours with the students, from 8 to 4, then after that they start their duty, sleep at midnight, very little time to rest even with their families. And so as you look at the programs, especially when you are going to implement the future CBC and all that, let our society have a dialogue. How do we want to solve these societal problems? Introduction of sports, let ministry do that with an immediate effect. let the ministry know that the teachers are really working hard, so that even as they review the salaries, let us not be lumped up with the rest. We are dealing with lives, we are dealing with the future of the teachers. Watafute kitu kidogo, waongeze hao walimu hata kama ni 5%, 10%. Teachers are struggling to our schools and my colleague teachers. It is possible that we can create changes. Let us just ensure that we listen to these boys and girls. They are teenagers. Let us love them, and then we can be able to help in solving problems. Dear parents, you are the ones who give us these students. You are the one who bring them up. I request you that instill discipline from home. What you cannot do at home, it can't be done in school.
All right, Mwalimu Victor, I'll interject you there.
Finally,
all right.
To my students, dialogue. Be ready to approach us whenever you have a problem. We are your parents in school. And I believe at the end of the day, our society will be a peaceful one, so that when we release the students to the society, there are people who are able to be leaders and people who can be able to create changes in the society. Thank you so much.
Mwalimu Ayub, because of the interest of time, 30 seconds.
Yeah, as parents, let's not pamper our children. Let's engage them. Let's eat with them. Let it not appear that we have zero time for them. And as a leadership of this country, let's try to be role models. And let's not leave the responsibility of nurturing these children to only the teachers. And let's not condone indiscipline, whether it's at home or whether it is in school.
All right, thank you for your thoughts. Ayub Mohamud is the Deputy Principal, Jamhuri High School. Victor Wanga is a teacher, Upper Hill School. Muiga Mutero is the former captain, Upper Hill School. Thank you for your time and your thoughts tonight. That brings us to the end of this discussion, but the discussion continues.